Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth connected.
Excuse me.
Awaken your spirit, chosen ones. Your mind is not a vessel to be filled. It is a fire to be ignited. And if that fire could talk, it would probably demand a Nobel Prize before breakfast. Your mind operates on a frequency so high that even the laws of physics pause, squint, and whisper, "Wait, what is this?" Studies have shown that the human brain generates more electrical impulses in a single day than all the telephones on Earth combined. Now imagine what happens when your thoughts aren't just electrical impulses. They're lightning bolts striking at the very foundations of reality itself. You move in layers others haven't even drawn. While most people scroll, repeat, and settle, your mind rewrites the rules, remixes logic, and plays a symphony that the world hasn't yet learned to hear. Patterns that others mistake for coincidence or chaos, you see with uncanny clarity. Ideas that seem like science fiction are the quiet footsteps of your own genius, already pacing 2 rooms ahead. There's humor in it too, because while the universe is busy trying to keep up with you, the rest of the world is still tying their shoes. And yet, despite the rapid-fire brilliance coursing through your neurons, you walk through life with an almost casual calm, like a conductor who hasn't even lifted their baton, but somehow the orchestra of existence still obeys your cues. This is not exaggeration. This is the reality of a mind that doesn't just think. It elevates, recalibrates, and reshapes everything it touches. And if you've ever felt the faint tingling of ideas that are too advanced for those around you, that is your signal. Your frequency is tuned to a wavelength where only the extraordinary survive. Number 1, your thoughts are too complex for ordinary minds to trace. Your mind moves at a speed and depth that most people can't even detect, let alone follow. While others are caught up in linear thinking, repeating patterns and predictable reactions, your thoughts jump across layers of possibility, connect ideas that seem unrelated, and anticipate outcomes before they even arrive. The complexity of your cognition isn't just about having knowledge. It's about how you arrange it, how you analyze it, and how you allow multiple threads of thought to exist simultaneously without loop.
The dolphins now guide you back to position. Make last-minute adjustment. This is your time to relax and let go. This is your time to experience the world of the dolphin dream time. encouraged to enter. For a moment, watch the breath. Use the breath to take you down into a deep state of relaxation. As you breathe in, imagine that you are drawing golden energy down through the crown chakra at the top of the head, down to the toes, drawing energy and healing into the body. As you breathe out, allow the out breath to relax the body, letting go of any tension. Look around the body for any areas of tension that may be there. Breathe golden light into this area. Relaxing, letting go, allowing the body to become heavy and relaxed. Imagine now that you are standing at the entrance of a very large cave. Feel the warmth, comfort, and safety of the cave. As you look into the cave, you notice that there are 3 flights of stairs gently leading down. Each staircase has 11 steps with a small landing between. These are the steps that will take you deep into relaxation, deep into the dream time. Begin to walk down these steps, counting with me as you go. 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. Now walk along the landing to the next flight of stairs. Start counting again with me as we go. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. As you walk down these steps, you become more relaxed. Now to the next landing. And to the final flight, counting with me now. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you are standing on the floor of the cave. Look around you. See that there are many types of crystals suspended from the ceilings and the walls. Notice the clarity of the clear crystals, the deep richness of the smoky quartz, the violet of the amethysts, golden yellow of the citrine, and the calming pink of the rose quartz. Watch as the lights play on these minerals, displaying their beautiful colors. Imagine that you can feel into the energies of these crystals. Gradually, you can feel their healing energies, transforming any fears or doubts that you may have in your life at present. come to an opening. Stepping through, you look down into the most beautiful tropical garden you have ever seen. The garden is full of palms, tropical plants, beautiful bird life, and many varieties of animals. Walking down the path through the garden, feel a oneness with the plant and animal kingdoms. The healing and strength that can be transferred from plants and animals. Feel the restrictions drop away as you become one with the garden and the animals. At the end of the garden, you find yourself looking out onto a small bay. In the bay, you see the glistening bodies of playing dolphins. They become aware of your presence and call for you to join them. Step down into the calm, warm water. Down into the ocean to be with the dolphins. The dolphins swim closer and closer until they are there with you. Allow yourself to swim along in their wake. Allow yourself to become one with them. As you become one with them, you experience your heart center expanding. Feel the expansion of this love energy gently enfolding your whole body. Gently now, these feelings expand further to enfold the dolphins, the ocean, and all beings. This is the gift of the dolphins, the gift of love, the gift of joy, and the gift of freedom. As you relax and feel safer, they take you further, far beyond your limitations, right back to the source of all life. Allow yourself to be with the dolphins and whales and with all creation. Allow the dolphins to gently guide you to their deepest secrets and any knowledge that will help you in your life.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video I will contemplate about spirituality and the practices that are there. I will also discuss cult leaders, the ones I experience and see, and how to avoid being manipulated into any cult. It has to do with your own power. You know, in your own power you're the source, so no one can actually fool you into thinking they are in any way superior. Spiritual trends are kind of funny because the spiritual has many connotations. The spiritual for me has different meanings, because when you say, oh, you're spiritual, what does that even mean? Does it mean you have spiritual habits? Does it mean you meditate once a day or once a month? Does it mean you start to drink matcha tea? Does it mean you start to dress in bohemian clothes or wear crystals all around your neck? What does it really mean to be spiritual? Spirituality is not a trend. Well, it is turned into this fast food junk trend if you say you're spiritual. And it's turned into fashion. It's turned into materialistic things, which is the opposite of what spirituality really is. Spirituality is anything you perceive beyond the physical. So the metaphysical, anything that is about the mind, anything that is about energy and the unseen world. How you dress doesn't matter. What habits you have, even if you drink, if you eat meat, or if you have tattoos, if you have sex, if you do anything, it doesn't make sense to not call it spiritual. Everything is spiritual because everything exists in frequency. And spiritual is essentially just the knowing that everything is frequency and is operating on a bandwidth within a certain frequency band. Spirituality is not drinking matcha tea, doing yoga class, going to India, and posturing that you are spiritual. That has nothing to do with true spirituality. What is more beneficial is consciousness expansion, which is another word, another label. It is simply you being aware of the multidimensionality of reality itself. That means you perceive that there is more to life than your programming. You see, humans are programmed between the ages of 0 and 7 in a hypnotic state called the theta brainwave state, theta, however you pronounce it. And in that state, you are programmed, your software is installed in your human avatar, and that's the software you will be playing with for a moment until you alter it, or you choose to overcome programming. Then you become an adult, and the programs are just for easy living, because if you can't form habits, you have to think actively about everything you do. You have to remember how to digest, you have to remember how to blink, you have to remember how your heart beats. It's too much bandwidth. So that's taken up by they call it the subconscious. It's just happening without your awareness. And then you get to choose wherever your awareness points to. So the thing that happens is, in this universe, in this world, if you grow up, you are taught to focus on things, and this is very malicious, I say. You go to school and they instantly tell you, your parents also, your caregivers can do this as well, you instantly get taught to focus on things because they think that's right for you. If you are taught to focus on things, that means your creative power is directed, and when you're an innocent new human, you don't know anything, your memory is wiped, you come into the veil of forgetfulness, amnesia, you get into this world and you think, whoa, I'm just gonna follow the I don't know where I am. I don't even know who I am, where I came from. I just suddenly exist. And that's in this realm, the veil of forgetfulness gets you all. That's why we are able to be programmed. You see, this earth is supposed to be a playground. This is supposed to be us mastering the physical manifestation. However, as you may notice that there is a lot of suffering happen in human condition. I would say to you right now that this is not normal. This is not where we originally came here for. This is not normal. Even though you grew up with this, this is not normal. We all feel it on a deep, deep level. This is not the true reality. The thing that happened is because we are so programmable, we have been hijacked by egoic consciousness, you can call it whatever, these thought forms that make us destroy ourselves and destroy others in the process. And we see this in the mental health rates, we see this in what's happening currently with people's bodies, the body dysmorphia that's around people. That's not normal. So this hijacking happens within engineering. This is being engineered by beings that know all your weaknesses. They warp your sense of belonging. They warp your empathy and then make it into a weakness. The thing that makes you beautiful and human, cooperativeness, your trust, your love, your kindness, is taken for weakness and then is used against you. That is what happens in this realm. Because these engineers, these dark occultists that are running the place, not for long anymore, but anyway, they harm you because you have delicious energy. They use you as food. You are essentially food, just like anything else eats anything else on this, in this realm. You are also a food source with your energy. We call that loosh. Loosh farming. We are a human farm harvested. This is the Gnostic approach. If you ever felt harvested or you didn't understand why so much suffering is happening in reality and in people in general, you think, okay, this is an experience of duality anyway. However, there are multiple layers of reality. So we are multidimensional. We have the highest realization that everything is one. Great, everything is one. We are all playing a game. But within the game, who are the players? What is the goal? Who are we playing against? If you forget why you are even here, what the game is, who you are, then if there's an adversary, then that adversary has a huge advantage, and that's not a fair game. So let me level the playing field right now for you. There are beings that want to harvest your energy, and the way to beat them, the way to win, is to claim your energy back and claim your sovereignty, because you are the source, the creator. And when you join a cult, or when you join any label, just a cult, and everywhere is a cult, your job is a cult, because you are subscribing to an egregore, a pendulum. You have to do the habits of the business or of the job, of the boss. You have to fit in, otherwise you'll get fired. In a friend group, you have to do the same habits, do the same things if your friend group is like that, or you won't be cool to hang out with. If you do not conform to the pendulum, you are kicked out of the pendulum. If you don't adhere to society's rules, and even rules that harm you, then you keep doing the self-harm in order to not be kicked out. You want to naturally contribute to other human beings. You want to naturally be a part of a community. That's our natural prerogative. That's our biological need. This has been misused to make you think that to fit in, you have to harm yourself, you have to poison yourself, and you have to overstress and overwork yourself in order to deserve to eat. This program of forgetfulness is also why people start to go into spirituality. So what happens when you start to go into spirituality? What happens when you decide, okay, I feel a bit lost in life, what is the meaning? I want to know more. So very curious, good-hearted people go into the modalities of spirituality. I call this in My framework, 4D, so you're rising above the 3D, because when you're in 3D, you are a complete programmed being. If you are, however, waking up a little bit, you start to go to your psychologist, therapist, you start to go try to label yourself, you want to know more, so you're struggling to really know what's going on. But at least you're asking questions. That's the first stage of waking up. You can go into religion, you can go into psychotherapy and science, or you can go into spirituality. There are a few roads that are very well traveled, and all these roads lead to nothing. All these roads lead to nothing. Psychotherapy won't lead you anywhere, spirituality won't lead you anywhere, science won't lead you anywhere, religion won't lead you anywhere. It's all a new control system because it's still in the same paradigm of your whole worldview. So in this video, I will help you change your worldview once and for all. And this is the most profound thing that any therapy or any religion or any science cannot do, even if you do it 20 years, 30 years, it will not work. It will not work because you are just running in circles, in loops. The 4D is crazy. You get stuck in loops, you don't know what spirituality is, then those factions start to fight with each other as well. The religions are against the occultists, and against spiritual things, tarot, and they start to demonize each other, quite literally, and then they're more busy defending their new modality than together finding out the real truth. And that's not how you get to truth. So any modality, even science with the papers and the empirical evidence is great. It's better than just blind belief. But empirical means based on the senses. And what if we can only perceive such a little bit of the electromagnetic spectrum? How can we even trust our senses? Because we can't even see in this reality. We're not even able to perceive 100% of reality. We have such a tiny bandwidth we can't even perceive. I think it's about 0.0035% that we can perceive of this so-called reality. So what's the other 99%? What's the rest? And that is the other dimensions. That is the other frequencies that we cannot perceive, but it's there anyway. It's governing everything. Everything you do, everything you are. So this higher intelligence that's always there, you can also call it the ether. The ether is all around us, and that's what free energy is based on. That's what healing is based on. And this energy is quite potent because it's makes up the majority of the true reality, and it actually powers our bodies, our vessels. This ether energy is absolutely magical because our body is powered by this thing. We don't even know how our human body can function or move like this. We are absolutely miracles. We don't know. We haven't been able to mimic our body with magic or anything, or alchemy. We haven't been able to mimic a woman being able to birth a child, or nature. We try to mimic nature all the time, but nature is above our intelligence. And that's why helicopters look like dragonflies, that's why trains look like bugs. We mimic, with our technology, what nature has already accomplished. So nature, Mother Nature, is above anything that comes afterwards. So any egoic mind structure. Nature already functions perfectly. So a bigger nature that I want to point to is the way reality is made up. We have the physical body, we have the physical world. But what's beyond this experience? Who are we beyond that? Spirituality questions that at first, but then, because of the pure addiction to the 3D, the pure addiction to cling to what we know, which is only the physical, we start to revert back to the 3D and start to become interested again in only the physical. We start to make spirituality material by going into trance and following each other, and that has nothing to do with questioning and searching of reality. Because when you leave this body, when you leave your physical vessel, you think, whoa, okay, there's something huge going on here. A huge operation or co-creation is happening all at the same time. We cannot even understand. We cannot even understand how vast this intelligence is. We don't even understand. Some people don't even understand how a light bulb works. How can you understand consciousness itself? So it's of great importance to humble ourselves, to think we know it all. And that's not popular. That's not a popular thing to do, because when you humble yourself, your responses will not be absolute anymore, and you constantly have to respond to people. It depends. It depends, and you don't get answers what to do, but you get more questions. And that's the thing. The more you get to know, the more questions you have, the less you actually know. And this is also what the great philosopher Socrates had as a conclusion. All that I know is that I know nothing. So when you lack humility, when you think you know all the answers, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. That means you don't know anything at all. Because if you truly looked and investigated, you come to realize you do not know anything. Unless you start to lie to yourself because you want certainty, you want rules, because you want control. And this is what I see in neurodivergent people when they artistically want to hang on to facts, math, in order to gain some kind of control of reality. This is also what is causing obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and any other compulsive disorder. We as humans want certainty so much in a reality that's completely malleable, magical, and uncertain, that you think your structures are the absolute truth. You think because you have inserted some rules, you have some empirical evidence, that it will always be that way. Unfortunately, there are not many things that are certain. Some things are certain, to a certain extent. But here comes the nuance again, and I have to nuancify everything I say, which doesn't make you popular on YouTube or any platform or in life in general, because you simply realize that you don't know. The only thing I am certain of right now is that I exist, and I am pure consciousness. And I project this outwardly, and I'm experiencing it. There's nothing that happens without my observing consciousness. Nothing. It is not possible. Beyond that, everything else can be argued about. Everything else can be discussed. But that's not a satisfying answer to the ego whatsoever. If you are awareness being aware of itself, how do you get results or goals in this life? Every course, everything, everyone that's trying to sell you some solution is basing it on the assumption of that you can have security in the external world. However, some things work for some people, some other things work for others. In some physical aspects, you can definitely have real tangible results, A, B, and C. But when you going into more philosophical issues or morality issues, it gets way more nuanced, and there is so many perspectives to look at something. You become so good at seeing things from multiple angles that it doesn't matter what angle is being discussed, because you are all the angles. I can relate to anyone because I can understand anyone. I understand why people behave the way they behave. I can understand the way people think. I can understand why the left thinks the way they do and the right thinks the way they do, politically, spiritually. And having this ability to understand on a deep level and actually feel what's happening makes navigating reality a bit more confusing. Why? Because anything anyone says something to you, 4 other points of view come into my mind at once. And I think, okay, you can see it as this way, as this way, as that way. And people on the internet and people in real life, they're often taking one position of, okay, this is my perception, this is how it is. And you can perception shift so much that you can alter your perception. That's a symptom of becoming a reality creator, because you know there's no truth, but I exist. And what else are you gonna do? Then you're gonna just play with belief system and different paradigms and see what you like. And I'm just sharing on this channel which paradigm I like. maybe you like it too. So let's go to cults and what cult leaders are actually doing. There's an emergence of cults and cult leaders because in times of instability, people need something to hold on to, a truth. So the most confident people, external confident people, I've met many people who present themselves as externally knowing this is it. And we are drawn to their lack of doubt. We are drawn to their certainty. The thing is, however, to have doubts or question things is way more conscious and spiritual and aware, whatever label you want to use, than being identified with one viewpoint. And this is what creates narcissistic people, because they need to uphold that they know everything, because it gave them so much attention and people came to them, gave them money, gave them admiration, and they need to uphold that. And when they don't uphold that, because they say, okay, I'm doubtful about this, it is felt as a narcissistic injury. So whenever someone tells you they are elevated above you, they are an elevated being, so the same rules don't apply to them that apply to you, and they extract some type of energy from you in the form of money or sexual energy, like many gurus do. If they try to get in your pants, honestly, they're just harvesting you. But there's this guru being exposed. He's from the Netherlands and he's been openly discussed on this platform because he follows Law of One. It's about a channeled entity called Ra that talks about service to self, service to others. If you read the Law of One, it's about us being on a path of ascension and everyone is a mirror. It's being misused to serve the ego. So he is a service to self being gathering other slaves to him that are fawning to him all the time. However, when you don't discern between what fake spirituality is and true spirituality is, you start to think that these leaders are above you. You start to think that a person, a human being with all its flaws and all the programming that's still there, can tell you what to do, how to live, how to act. And when you are in that state, you start to become a worshipper. So a true guru has nothing for you. A true guru is like this. It's like, okay, I have the answer in my hand. Okay, follow me for 10 years and you are very adamant on getting the answer. How do I get enlightened? Oh, I have it here, I have it here. Just follow me. Here it is. And they don't do this to trick you because they know exactly what they're doing. Because if you are such an intense seeker of truth, you haven't gotten there yet. You haven't discovered that everything is you and you are doing this all. So in the external, no one can give you anything. And that's what they do. They are like the tricksters in the game that tell you to follow them, and then they trick you and they say, I have nothing for you. And they sometimes purposely and sometimes not purposely do it. Because if you externalize your power to another being, then you will be harvested by the matrix, by the external, in some way. With your energy, attention, your time, you will be harvested. And if you don't know yet that you are the one that can manifest your world, and you have way more power than you've been told, so you can just imagine something, plant a seed, and birth a new reality into existence by using your mind, your imagination, your heart, and your physical vessel to take action. So it's multidimensional. You use all the faculties to get to where you want. Then you won't have time for worship for anyone else. You won't have time because you are a creator now. So when you are in a cult, the only reason is because you want belonging and connection and you want a sense of purpose. Because you lack a sense of purpose within. And the big mirror is then, they are like huge mirrors, and our egos are going to demonize them because they stole from us, they siphoned our energy, they tricked us into sleeping with them or something similar, they're going to be offended and traumatized actually, because they had an expectation that the outside world had their back, and these people would give them enlightenment. And it's going to be misused. Well, the right guru won't do that. Only the crazy ones, the psychopathic ones. So it's both. Both things can be true. You can be a victim to a cult in the lower levels, but you also, on a grander scale, experience that for a reason. You consented to it for a reason. You got interested for a reason. And if you know that the reason is that you outsource your power, then you won't go to anyone. You can still interact with people, but you have to find the belonging within. And the belonging is already there because you are literally one with everything in the universe itself. And you are already validated in that universe. And what people are doing outside, they are just crazy. They are literally coping with the fact that they don't know yet. So they do all these tricks, these trends, because they feel separate. And they don't need to do it, but they will do it anyway. The spirituality is not rules. It's not, oh, you need to be vegan. In fact, being vegan is you just following a trend that the spiritual people with the hand gave you. They say, okay, these are the rules. Oh, you're coming for me to give your power away? Okay, then I will use your power. Thank you for your power. Instead of using your own mind and feeling in your own body what feels right, instead of trying different things for yourself, experimenting on yourself with love and gentleness, you externalize your power to a guru, your body is gonna deteriorate. You are harming your body, and our body is our highest responsibility. You take care of your body. It's also symbolic how we take care of the Mother Earth. If you misuse your own body, you probably will pollute the earth as well. If you abuse yourself, you don't feed yourself well, you will feed your cat junk food as well. You see how it goes? So the way you treat yourself is extremely important, not only for yourself, it's not self-serving. If you treat your body with respect, with love, with dignity, and you don't just do anything with your body or sell it to feed egoic expressions outside of you, you start to treat others with more dignity. Being vegan is not spiritual. Poverty is not spiritual. Neglect is not spiritual. Asceticism is not spiritual. Worshipping other players is not spiritual or conscious. Let's call it conscious. Polyamory is not spiritual. Polyamory is serving the lower ego. When you are so validated in yourself, the sexual expression would be with some divine union, divine other being that you love. There won't even be a need for something else because that craving, that lack is gone, because most people have sex because they need external validation. That's about it. And it's being framed to be empowering. Some spiritual thing is because God said to you that you have to be polyamorous and hurt your wife or man. It's spiritual deception. What happens with polyamory, for example, this is a big topic. So you have people like Aubrey Marcus, you have Bentino Massaro, they all go that route. Relationships are something, I have so much love to give, I have a healing penis, and I will heal you. And it's framed as something spiritual, but this is infiltrated by the dark occultists. The dark occultists are the one that's siphoning humanity's energy, by the way. The dark occultists are behind every single society, elite. They are behind everything and all the human suffering, and they are profiting off human suffering and catering pharmaceuticals to you. That word originates from the word witchcraft. So they have elixirs, they have potions. It's essentially the wizard or the witch that does potions in a lab. It's morphed into laboratories and technology. But it used to be just potions and things to manipulate humans in order to control them. This faction of controllers is there to harvest and siphon your energy, because how much money would you give to get to a pill? It's the drug industry, it's the illegal one, and the legal one is both the same. Then you have the supplement business, which is a really soft version of the pharmaceuticals. It's still the same. It's harvesting your energy. It's not healthy for you, because when we live in accordance with nature, we won't need any of that. I know this may be radical, but nothing that you've been told is true. You taking supplements, working out, going to your doctor to get your prescriptions, it's all an attempt to harvest from you, because you don't need any of it. You don't need any pills, any subscriptions, because nature is free and nature heals. And when I say nature, how we're supposed to live with loved ones, with healthy food, free of any contracts with a system. So the systems in the coming 10 years will definitely die, because the dark occultists are being removed at the moment, because the consciousness of the planet is getting too high. So we're going to a society where spiritual doesn't mean that you perform a certain role, you start wearing a robe.
Hello.
Spiritual truly is becoming sovereign or free from anything. You won't follow anyone because you're not in a cult, you're not a cultist. The dark occultists are just
How are
a
you?
group of people that work together to siphon your energy. And siphoning your energy is billions and billions of money from you. Your suffering is also delicious to them. It's being eaten. And your the other side, your ecstasy, your joy, your sexual energy is being harvested. Then you get to the porn industry. You get into those industries, or the OnlyFans pandemic that's happening. This energy harvesting is insane on a global level, and it's never been this big before. I think they're getting more desperate, and estimate 10, because
Yeah, me too.
so many people, like normal people like you and me, are waking up and seeing through the bullshit. The companies also siphon your energy. The amount of times that people that got sick or retired were not treated well by the businesses, and they would just disposable. You've been treated as
all right.
disposable, and they won't give you any appropriate
Quite tired. At
money
the
for your labor. Is appalling.
Up and down.
Sign an NDA to keep silent for a lot of messed up things. If
It's a
you
good channel, this is.
make the mistake of being loyal to a company and they're just siphoning your energy and you're always replaceable, because that's
She
the
is
structure of
called
the system, you are replaceable.
Danny Divinity.
You will never be treated well, because you are just a cog in a system. You are not valued for your intrinsic value. Where you are valued in
Interesting.
your intrinsic value is your loved ones around you. If they're not mind controlled to siphon you for the system already. If you have loved ones around you that value you in an intrinsic way, because you are a human
Excuse me.
being, then you got in the jackpot. That's the jackpot. But when you're surrounded by energy harvesters, that's misery, and that's
Speaks
what's
a lot of
going to be the
sense.
transhumanism world.
A lot of
It's going to be
sense.
devastating. We will split off. You have smart cities, you have the complete robotic people
Yeah.
that decide to take all the pharmaceuticals, to install a chip in their mind, Neuralink.
And then we'll have
The
the
other part will be
off-grid.
communities that are living in harmony with nature, grow their own food,
Yeah.
and actually talk to each other, value each other as human beings. And that's the path of nature. So you have Mother Nature taking its power back in the form of communities, and you have a strong difference in the smart cities, in the technological hive mind cities that they're
What she
creating.
said,
And it's like a motherboard, a grid that they're
she's
creating to
absolutely
siphon more.
right. Oh, so
Intrinsic value is sign an NDA to keep silent. So a lot of messed up things. If you make the mistake of being loyal to a company and they're just siphoning your energy and you're always replaceable, because that's the structure of a system, you are replaceable. You will never be treated well, because you are just a cog in a system. You are not valued for your intrinsic value.
That's right.
Why you are valued in your intrinsic value is your loved ones around you. If they're not mind controlled to siphon you for the system already. If you have loved ones around you that value you in an intrinsic way because you are a human being, then you got in the jackpot. That's the jackpot. But when you're surrounded by energy harvesters, that's misery, and that's
Yeah.
what's going to be the transhumanism world. That's going to be devastating.
Transhumanism
We
is a
will
real
split
thing.
off. You have smart cities, you have the complete robotic people
Like a Brave New World.
that decide to take all of our
That's just Brave New World is just another one like 1984. It's telling you what's going to happen.
And
It's a long
the other
plan.
part is the
A long plan.
communities that are living in harmony with
long
nature, grow
game.
their own food, and actually talk to each other, value each other as human beings. And that's the path of nature. So you have Mother Nature taking its power back in the form of communities, and you have a strong difference in the smart cities, in the technological hive mind cities that they're creating. And it's like a motherboard, a grid that they're creating to siphon more energy. And you are a tiny electron going through the cities to power the grid. You can opt out of this, and this is going to be a choice point for you, for all of you. You can go more into the system, or you can opt out and be self-reliant. And for that path to come, you have to deprogram a shit ton of programs because you cannot have both anymore. You can have technology, but you can't be in the smart cities because it's just too painful for a natural organism to sustain that. So you need to be stimulated all the time, you need to be like a robot, you need all these interventions all the time. It's too difficult to live there as a natural being. It's like being in the zoo.
It's all a big lie. What you said earlier, that's what I've been saying for ages. Everything you're told is a lie. That's true.
If you want to be free, then you will be exposed to nature and the natural elements again, and you need to know how to live and survive again.
No, they're building
The
them.
good part is we do have some
They're making
nice
them,
technology, so it's easy.
It will be
easy
like a
to live and survive on your
lockdown.
own. And you
5
have to
minute
work
cities,
together
they
with
call them.
other real humans. It means you have to open your heart again to community, to love, to trust. And that's going to be difficult for people that have been programmed in that
Yeah, me too.
traumatized robot society.
I'm going to my friend Smallholding in them, not next week, week after. He's gone off grid. I help him set it up. That'll be interesting to
Tattoos
see.
is not spiritual, it's just you attaching to the trauma of something and ingraining it into your physical body. When you have a tattoo with someone, when you create a tattoo, the chemicals, the ink that is used, those are heavy metals. They seep into your body. Your body sees
Larry.
the heavy metals as a
Larry
threat,
Focus, his
and
name
it's
is.
poison.
He's
It's
got a
usually
YouTube channel
toxin.
called Our Story.
So what the body does is encapsulate your new tattoo with white blood cells all the time. So that's your defense system. Your white blood cells are there to protect you. Your body needs to exert a significant amount of energy to single out the tattoo. And that's what makes the tattoo stay in place. The tattoo artist is connected to your energy. It's a blood ritual. So you exchange your energy with the tattoo artist. It's a blood ritual that has spiritual implications, so you can be attached to them. I don't know if this is true, if you can be attached to them for multiple lives, but some say it is, some psychics say it is, so it might be true, it might not be true, it might be untrue, so your body is constantly fighting off this thing, and that's why a tattoo fades over time, because it's being slowly cleaned up by every cell.
Oh, nice.
You're siphoning yourself of energy by doing things like that. You have to take the physical into account, which is chemicals, and it's connected to the non-physical, which is placebo. With your mind you can do a lot, but your tissue, your physical tissue being rebuilt requires food, so physical foods. So that brings me to starvation is not spiritual. Fasting is not spiritual. I don't know who actually put the fasting in religions and in mainstream science, But if you put fasting in religious and mainstream science, that tells me that someone is knowingly making people sick. Because fasting, the reason why you get visions when you fast, and I've fasted for many years, don't get me wrong, I thought it was great because I didn't think about food that much. But now, when I look back, I just was malnourished and was running on adrenaline all the time, so it wasn't that healthy for me. The reason why when you fast, you get visions and detox reactions is because you're more connected to the next realm. That means your body is dying. When you see visions and hallucinations, you're more connected to the next realm. So you're essentially, when you poison yourself as well, your third eye gets open. It's essentially a fake death. Isn't it more conscious to sustain your body, treat your body like a temple, and feed and nourish your body, nourish your soul, nourish your life, nourish others, than to tell each other, oh, you should fast, you should run for miles and miles and extort yourself, exploit yourself, because then you get this magical benefit. You get way more consciousness and benefits when you are well nourished, well fed. You are being told as well that doing a lot of activity is noble or wholesome, or you just enjoy it. I know many people lie about this to themselves because they are just trying to escape their horrible feelings and thoughts when they are too silent, when they're sitting still. Avoiding those is all good and well, and it has a place. Sometimes you cannot get into your feels and you have to go, and there's merit to that. But what I see from an outsider perspective, and I can relate to that, if you avoid things by just running for 4 hours or going to the gym 5 times a week, you're avoiding that horrible feeling when you sit still. Can you stop going to the gym for 3 months? Can you stop working out for 3 months? What would happen to your psyche? You are terrified to find out, aren't you? I did that, by the way. I used to work out all the time. I did martial art for 7 years. I worked out for a long time as well, with weightlifting. And then I just stopped and I felt so much better. I felt more accepting of my body. I felt more like I don't care. I don't care anymore.
I listened to her first time last night. She's really good.
Such
really
a
interesting.
prison.
Well,
Most marathon runners get
says a lot of stuff
heart attacks.
I connect
The
with.
one who invented running marathons died of heart disease at a quite young age. Running a marathon was actually inspired by the Spartans, the ancient Spartans in Rome. There was this Spartan man that had to deliver a message to Rome to tell everyone that they have won the war. And then he collapsed and died. So he ran all this way. So running is only appropriate in nature when you are running from a bear. And us being consistently programmed to run all the time.
Shout to her.
I remember in school when they did this beeping test, you have to run like a lunatic again and again. You are literally depleting your life force, and it's extremely, and I only found this out recently because I thought, oh, running is good.
It was all sports, I guess.
It's actually depleting your life force. It doesn't do anything for you. It's aging you quicker. It's making your hormones out of whack, because fight or flight, if you are flighty, that means your nervous system is out of whack. You produce more cortisol. You are depleting your adrenal gland. You'll age very quick, reduce your lifespan. So it's all a game. To them, it's all a game too. You are just a resource. What true spirituality is living consciously, knowing that this is just a game.
I want to run in.
And also
Well,
being in the physical, anchoring your higher consciousness, bring the higher consciousness here, be as healthy as you can possibly be, so you can be more effective in this reality. And that means prioritize your body's health. Your body is your temple, your vessel, because the more health you have, the more divinity can enter you, the more source can live through you, the more free you are. You won't have any addictions, by the way, not any addictions if you live naturally. None, because you won't be needing entertainment, you won't be needing processed foods that make you addicted. Any pills or supplements at all, because you have connected to nature, you live naturally, you have like-minded people who love you around you,
Wow.
more people in the physical world that love you and you love them. That's very, very healthy. And it has to be genuine and true love, not based on just using each other because you can get ahead in the matrix. Because now I remember why we are here. And I'm meant to wake you up and guide
So
you
very
into
badly,
new
though. I've got
world.
to take, look, I'm
And
running out of this one.
within a few years,
So we get any more for a
there's
little
going to
bit.
be a type of end game. We are
I
part
think they're
of
very
the
good for
animal
you.
kingdom. We are animals. We are having a physical experience. We are animals. But we are also higher awareness, which is all it is. So in this beautiful paradox that we're living in, it's up to us to balance that. So what I see is you can live in harmony with your beautiful home. There's nothing wrong with
There's a mental
receiving
problem,
a little bit from the earth,
mental
but not
illness.
take too much. You don't need to overindulge and be greedy. But
Certainly
there
for
are
me.
so many resources for everyone.
Sat
There's enough
lying
land,
in the
enough
dark,
water,
listening
enough.
to some
There's
woman.
enough for everyone.
But
Enough
it
friends.
helps
We
me
have all friends
anyway,
around
listening
us.
to her.
There's enough for everyone. We are the value. We are the resource. We are the one that brings life. You say, I am the source. You are. You and I are the source. We bring life into this world. So do not get siphoned because you forgot. If you are a being that can bring forth life, that can create, why would you ever have low self-esteem?
Yeah, so
Why?
I'm doing
Because the system has programmed you to follow arbitrary trends. The system has absolutely lobotomized
lovely.
you.
See you next
And that
time.
pisses me off.
I will be
a little
asleep.
bit. I'm a bit peeved by it. So what's going to happen is we're going to the new world. Polyamory is not spiritual. Having tattoos is not really spiritual. Well, it has a spiritual consequence, but it makes you solidify your trauma in your energy field. So the past is created in the now, so you can literally recreate your past. Doesn't mean people don't get consequences for their actions, because everything is recorded in your subconscious. That means you hold on to the past and the things. If you haven't forgiven yourself or make amends with others for certain things, it will be unfinished business, and your energy field will keep that on. And you will need to deal with that in some way or another. You need to do inner work, otherwise you'll have karma. But if you transcend karma and you know, okay, time is an illusion, I am one with everyone, then karma is gone. Karma is gone. You don't have any ties because, okay, if you have a tattoo or anything, you can remove any contract by multiple methods. You say, I do not consent to any contract that I have made under amnesia. I do not consent to any contract that I have made, any contract or agreement that I have made when I was under amnesia. When I was unaware, I revoke all the contracts I've ever made when I was unaware, under amnesia. And you can revoke all the contracts in this life or the other lives, and they're gone. I'll be giving a contract breaker for you, and to get back your sovereignty, because this is extremely important. And you can break up contracts. You're essentially a free being again, in the now moment, in the present moment. You revoke all the contracts with the matrix. You revoke all the artificial standards that have been put on you. And I'm going to give you something else now. So you revoked all the old programs. If you want, and I'm just suggesting this, so with your free will, you can also decline this because you have free will now. Do you want, and this is a suggestion, be very aware because I'm offering you a new reality. Do you want to feel worthy always? Do you want to feel relaxed always? Do you want to feel at peace always? Do you want to feel abundance always? Do you want to feel good about yourself always? You can. Regardless of any circumstances, I'm telling you this, I'm handing you this gift, regardless of any circumstances in the external world, I am always divine. No matter what happens, I am the operant power. I am divine. Doesn't matter what goes on, I will always be divine. And I am. Being truly divine is to live in a healthy body, have an abundance of food and clothing, living in harmony with the animal kingdom and with nature, in a wonderful, beautiful polarity of life and death that we temporarily experience in the human avatar. The systems do not work for us anymore. The first step is becoming mentally free, and that's what I'm here for. I'm freeing your soul. But I can only lead you to the answer. You have to do it for yourself, with your heart. Free yourself. You have to free yourself. I'm just handing you the key. You have to, come on, open up. Come out of the cage we call it illusion, the ego. So what these trends tend to do, and if you're still weak in your awareness, you're gonna be eaten for real. If you're weak in your awareness, and I'm talking from experience, I've been eaten alive in this game. I've been literally eaten alive because I was so unaware. You have to know that you cannot pedestalize any player outside of you. That's the first one. You need to know that when anyone does seem to have answers, and they can, don't get me wrong, it's good to listen to people because they can literally help you awaken. But they have to point you to yourself. That's the requirement. If they point towards themselves and say, I am the one, I'm special, I need to be worshipped, that's a clear indication that that person is egoically motivated. Because if you look behind the surface, you notice, okay, hello there. I know you are free, you seem to be free of emotions, but is this because you are a psychopath and you don't have emotions? Or is it because you're truly divinely awakened and an enlightened master? Or are you apathetic? Because most spiritual teachers that pose as being enlightened are just in a state of apathy. And apathy is a very low state on the scale of consciousness. If you're familiar with the scale of consciousness, it's made by Dr. R. Hawkins, and it's an awesome scale that shows you your level of energy on a given moment. The highest level of energy is enlightenment, obviously. You have peace, you have love, you have reason, and then one of the lowest levels, shame, grief, fear, and apathy is very low. Some spiritual teachers pose being in non-duality consciousness, being enlightened, but they're actually in psychopathy, apathy. You feel when someone has empathy, and real empathy, you just instantly feel it because you start being emotional, you start recognizing that the person in front of you has feelings, not only for themselves, but for others as well, because narcissistic gurus can have empathy for themselves and cry about themselves when they're being exposed, but do they have empathy for others? Do they have to deal with their own issues then? When they have true empathy, you'll feel it, having higher awareness that you are all it is and everything is neutral. At the same time, you hold the knowing. That's how you connect with other people in the human game. You have to recognize the humanness we all have, because we're all in the human game. We all have feelings, we all have an ego, and we all can feel victimized, and we can do bad things, and we are accountable for those things. It's not that we're not accountable anymore. So it's a perspective you hold both at the same time. And this is quite challenging because you are kind of morphing, you are switching through different viewpoints all the time. And then you act from a very low place, and then you act from a very high place, and you think, well, who am I then? I'm saying you are everything. You are everything. There is nobody that doesn't have duality, polarity. So when you meet people in real life that you pedestalized, everyone is programmed. Everyone is living in this world and has so-called imperfections. But in the eyes of the creator, with a capital letter C, You are absolutely perfect as you are. Because you are just responding to the wave of the ocean, the disruptions, and you're just naturally correctly responding to being energy siphoned. So it's not your fault that you are this way. It's not your fault that you have OCD, you have body dysmorphia, you have ADHD, you have autism, you have all these labels. It's not your fault. You have anxiety. It's not your fault. It's literally not your fault. It's not your fault, but you created it all. So it's not the fault of the character. You are misidentified with the character all the time. It's not the fault of your character. Your character is absolutely a victim to anything what happens. But on a higher level, you are in control. You are in control because you are everything. Nothing can happen without your observing consciousness. And when you realize this, it's like, oh, wow, I am identified now with being all that is. So whatever happens in a human drama, the play, is perfect, it's good. I don't need to change it. And paradoxically, because this consciousness journey is full of paradoxes, if you finally realize that you don't need to change anything in the 3D, then the 3D changes. But you don't need it to change. It's the same with if you stop needing someone or something, you're just like, oh, and let it go finally, then they come to you. It's the law of detachment. The law of detachment. If you finally don't need the money anymore, you are signaling to the universe, I already have it, so, and then it gets magnetized to you. When you signal, oh, I don't need a partner, then suddenly you get your partner. When you signal, oh, I don't need this because, never mind, never mind. Boom, you have it. When you suddenly don't need friends anymore, you think, I don't want friends, boom, friends come in. Then you think, where were you when I really needed you? Where were you when I really needed you? You were in a lack of energy, so it didn't come to you. You see? So this is the joke of the human experience, and I've been talking so long, but I had a structure. Okay? I'll do better next time. So if this consciousness journey doesn't make you more humble or doesn't make you realize that you know nothing on this level, then you're most likely misguided, because you can look into something infinitely and you still don't understand it, because the infinite is not comprehensible for the mind, but you can try, and it's fun to try to understand. But some things I'm certain of, and some things I'm not certain of. But what I'm certain of is that we're heading to a higher awareness, for real. Because everything that's happening is symbolic for your own awakening. And it's happening. And it has happened already. I see the end already. It's just a memory that we're going through right now. Memory, and it happened before and before and before. Multiple civilizations happened. Resets. More resets. The story has been happening over and over again. And you are the one that awakens to that. It's already happening.
And to separate yourself from toxic or negative people. And while I do advocate the idea of separating yourself from abusive people, the encouragement that they're giving is that if you feel something or someone makes you feel bad, you should avoid it or sever that person from your life. Well, the truth is that all people who function at high levels are problem solvers. They don't run from toxic people or people that make them feel bad. They just learn to manage those people better.
We're all one soul. So when we begin to think that we need to cut people out of our lives, or we begin to think about toxicity within relationships and dismissing people, we're actually hurting ourselves as well as them. Instead, what would be beneficial is leaning into those relationships, gaining an understanding and different points of view.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Hi everyone, I'm here to share my experience in this human game. And what is very useful for anyone, for you to think about is that whenever you are experiencing shapes in this holographic illusion, don't forget, and this is the thing we will forget, don't forget that there's nothing outside of you. Without you, there is no dream. You are the dreamer dreaming the dream. You are the dream itself. So whenever you start looking outside in your experience, it feels so odd when you finally wake up to it. Because when you realize that you are alone, not in a bad way, but, by the way, because being alone means being all one. That means you are all that is. Being in a state where you know that external projections are actually internal creations. It's a game changer because that is the only true salvation from our mind, from the ego. What you all really want, and I spoke to so many of you personally, also through my observation of others, what I think is happening is that people are incarnated in this lifetime because they have certain materialistic desires that they want to meet. They want to achieve things in the external to just have an experience. And it's in the higher perspective, it's just for the fun of it. However, what happened is, and you see this in society, and there's no society outside of me, so it's all me. So I'm very conscious of that talking right now. I see industries, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industries that are banking on our sense of incompleteness. So the game in this realm is to transcend incompleteness. Why do you overconsume? Why? I actually looked up the numbers of the industries that are the highest industry. The highest paying, the highest profitable industries have to do with insurance, technology, and through those mediums we see the human condition. We see the human condition in which there's insecurity, uncertainty of who we truly are. We don't know. We forgot. The world of amnesia. This is a game of amnesia. So what's happening if you have been progressing on your spiritual path, spiritual journey, if you woke up? The reason why you woke up is probably because of some crisis that happened in your life, probably of some deep sense of emptiness that you experienced even after achieving a bunch of goals. And you wanting to get rid of suffering. It's essentially what every human wants, is to get rid of suffering. Because those loops that we are stuck in are projected into work loops, into habits we do consistently. That is a reflection of the reincarnation loop that we are in. And these loops are to be transcended, ending the trends of the ego. So the ego, the human condition, is simply a fallen consciousness, a fallen awareness. And in this fallen awareness, we forgot that we are the infinite field of awareness, which is pure consciousness itself, which is pure potential, pure energy. Pure energy in which you can create anything you imagine. Imagination means magi, so a nation of magicians. So magic is real, all those things are real, placebo effect is real, epigenetics is real, it's all mind. The first hermetic principle is also, everything is mind. That is the cause. So if you know that you are the cause of everything, the ultimate cause, and it's not you as the meat suit, no, it's you in the body or experiencing the body. It's non-local consciousness. You are non-local. In one experience I had, kind of felt like I was here, not locally in the middle of my head for some reason. And everything else is a VR game, huge VR game, highly interactive, a lot of impulses everywhere, a lot to experience. Even sitting on a chair, you have so many impulses. You have the pressure of the chair, you have the air you breathe, you have the sensations of your fingertips, you have your eyes, hearing. There's so much to take in already, even if you do nothing. So if you go to a high impulse activity, or you go to a music festival, then there's impulses everywhere. And this becomes addictive towards egoic consciousness, because those impulses feed our emptiness. So the emptiness, the human condition that everybody has this, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I have it too. That's why I know about this now. Everyone on a soul deep level feels this emptiness inside them. Like there's something missing, right? And then we try to cosmetically solve it by creating security for ourselves, insurance companies, by creating relationships with others, community-based activities, eating. The action of eating is also, in the game, our sense of incompleteness. So you have half-truths in this world. So you have breatharians, they say you can live on life force and prana. However, you cannot be here in this physical dense body. It's too dense to live on prana here, because we haven't solved the human condition. If you have solved the human condition of incompleteness, you are out of here. That's why those enlightened ascended masters ascend. They're not here because they graduated. If you're still here, you have that empty hole still. And in those less dense realms of realities, you don't have food or things like that. You don't have the negativity, the heaviness. That's non-existent there. So if you achieve something in this material realm, you have a bigger home, you have a new relationship, you have a new company, you have a promotion at your work, you have a bunch of children, you have a bunch of status, friends. What happens inside, okay? There's two things that are happening. One, the ego gets fed, validated finally, and the emptiness is a little bit less. So you have a glimpse of fulfillment very, very quickly. But it is very fleeting, so it goes away again. What the human does is then works harder and harder and harder to maintain that level of validation. The biggest fear of a human being is to become irrelevant after having a bunch of validation. Which brings me to plastic surgery business. Any type of business that helps you become complete again. So if people get older, they are afraid of aging. The fear of aging is a huge fear because the ego knows that this one life in this specific meat suit is temporary. And what happens is, because of that innate fear, you try to do whatever it takes to stop aging. And this is the same mechanism. The core issue is you don't feel whole and complete because you are identified with the meat suit, the mind and emotions of this whole experience. The reason why Egyptians and ancient civilizations were obsessed with the afterlife is because they subconsciously knew that this isn't the real life. This is like a shadow version of eternal life. So they were talking about heaven and everything. But what the ego does, the ego weaponizes spiritual truths, so it becomes corrupted. So spiritual knowledge is always corrupted by the ego and used for the ego. So what happens is the ego thinks, oh, so in the afterlife I can get everything I want, all my materialistic desires. So they started painting things on the wall, and that's in stark contrast with reality, with their true life, because there was disease, poverty. In ancient times it was far from in heaven, because in this realm, this is not the heavenly realm if you are in a consciousness of ego, then this hell is the hell realm, the realm of death. So we are in a realm of death when we see all these companies being manifested because the humans have forgotten that they are already whole and complete. So all the businesses profit from it, but why wouldn't they? Because there's a huge market for it. If there was no egoic consciousness, those industries wouldn't exist. So on the one hand, I think when we graduate, we disappear from this realm, but we won't even notice it. On the other hand, it's so subtle and unnoticeable that you start to gradually shift, phase out of this layer of reality. So that means in your external world, you can't interact with people, you just start to go away from people that you've known. The world becomes very quiet, like everyone just disappears. And that's a bit terrifying for me because I've been told that this will happen. And my ego is terrified of that because my ego has some incompleteness left. They say, oh, but wouldn't that be lonely, you know? The thing is, do you want to be free or do you want to keep playing the egoic game? If you opt out of all of this, it means you are completely done. So you won't come back here. You won't. And you not coming back here means the density will be lighter. So it doesn't feel heavy anymore. You detox all of the egoic consciousness out of you. You purged the illusions. And then there's the unknown. And is the unknown, to who is the unknown scary? To the ego. Things become increasingly malleable, unknown, and not solid anymore. And to other egos, those which are reflections of yourself, they will start to reject you because you've escaped all of the pendulums. You won't participate, but you will participate a little bit because this material world has been so addictive. That's actually the reason why you came back here in the first place. You've descended into material limitation, into this game, because you were curious about what would it be like to feel disconnected from the source of who you are. And here you have it, this whole creation. So now we created a world where beings eat each other for sustenance, including human beings. This is not a divine realm. This is a shadow of the divine realm. But we know this internally. That's why we're so confused. That's why religions were created as well. Think, okay, why are we in this animalistic realm? Why do cruel things happen? Why is it a zero-sum game here? The thing is, it's not, because you created it all. And code can never be destroyed nor created. So there can nothing can be lost because we're an infinite field of energy. And the infinite cannot be taken from or gained in any way. It's already complete. So this core assumption is that's what all spirituality, all enlightenment is about. It's just the knowing that, oh wait, it was just a game. I already am everything, I already have everything. And then you go from there. And whatever you achieve, you know this. You know that whenever you get a new phone or something, you'll get used to it. Everything normalizes. So in order to get those ego boosts, you need more and more extreme, more. It's never enough for the ego. And once you see that it's never enough, there's always something lacking, you have a decision to make. Do you keep on playing and you keep on creating more things? And do you enjoy that? Or do you think, okay, wait, can I opt out of this? Yes, you can. You opt out of this by knowing thyself, by knowing who you are beyond this experience, and graduating. But most egos are really not ready for this because of the amount of addiction in this plane is insane. The amount of addiction. We have addiction to thoughts as well. We have addiction to habits, addiction to all kinds of things. And the only reason is because we want every person that is addicted to something, they just want the relief of the knowing that everything is okay, peace. Stop the struggle, stop the pain. What struggle? What pain? The pain is created by ego. That's it. The suffering is created by the mind that takes over and tells you you are not enough. The pain goes away when you go into the heart-based living, and know that you are whole and complete. Healing. You value yourself on every level. You can also value your human. I had someone telling me, a client of mine, you're like Tamagotchis. You take care of your human. I thought that was cute. All disorder thinking is the mind trying to solve the problem of ego, of separation. But you have to stop solving the problem because there's no problem to solve. And that's the tricky thing about the ego. It gets you to figure things out, to struggle, to solve something. Wow. The whole problem was created by nothing itself. Internally. This entity, it's not even an entity, it's just nothingness, it's just a black hole. This black hole tells you you're not enough, and then you start to need things externally which disempowers you, instead of being a source, a sunshine. And it's literally so insane because if you look at the ego straight at it, it is nothing. It is nothing. And that is what everyone is serving. Almost everyone is serving the ego on a daily basis. Manifested in chasing experiences, chasing an end goal, chasing things outside. They want to add more to themselves. Add more. For what? For who? Who are you serving? Who are you serving by creating your hot summer body? Your ego, because you have a quiet hope that you will stop hating on yourself in the mirror. That's why you want your hot summer body. Who are you feeding? And when you achieve that goal, and you've also done a bunch of harmful stuff to get there, then you come to the horrible conclusion, oh no, I still feel the same way. Let me try more. More fixing, more problem solving, more, never enough. And the thing is, external people who are in a process like this, they see from an external point of view, they are like your helpers. They see from an external viewpoint, oh, but I thought you were already enough to me. You are already enough, and that can be harmful for you. And you are already enough. And then the person in the ego says, oh, you're just jealous because I'm ascending in my value. And then imagine you have a whole society working like that, and then everyone is crazy. And the ones that are not ascended in their goal maxing, whatever endeavor you as ego hyper focus on, the thing is, the ego doesn't care which thing you hyper focus on. As long as you have something to hyper focus on for the ego, it's good for the ego. Because it can fix something. So you can create an eating disorder, that's something for the ego to hyperfixate on. You can create addiction to alcohol, That's something to hyperfixate on. You can hyperfixate on hoarding stuff and resources. For most people, that's a favorite one. You can hyperfixate on focusing on others and gossiping. That's also a huge ego boost. There are a lot of things you can pick and choose from. If you hyperfixate on overworking, also ego boost. Ego, whatever you focus on, it will be good. It will find something. If you are stranded in a forest and the ego is present, so that empty hole inside of you is present, you will start to count sticks or something, very randomly, and hyper-focus on sticks. This is what obsessive-compulsive disorder also does. The ego hyperfixates on things that don't even matter, on certain numbers or patterns, because this is the human condition. So no one is better than another because we're all in the same boat. We are all in the same consciousness here. This whole reality with people you interact with, we are all the same. We are all, in our own way, trying to fill that emptiness inside. But some have seen through the game and say, oh wait, this is not real. We're already whole and complete. Everyone's crazy, including myself. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing to solve, nothing to fix. There's no problem, because if you notice that in companies they create a problem, then you react and then they offer the solution. The same is happening with the ego inside of you. You create a problem that didn't exist before. You are a complete human being, a little baby creator. Then a problem comes into your mind, planted. You are inadequate. Then you react by trying to solve it, and then the ego comes, oh, what if you work out more? What if you work more? What if you perform more? What if you get more external validation? What if you get more likes? What if you get more things? No, that doesn't work. Let me get more for you. What if you become better than others at this? And the ego never stops, because you still give the ego a job, and you have the decision, because you are the creator, to look at the ego right in its black face, the void. You look straight at the fear, because the ego is fear. There's nothing to solve, and when you start preparing for fear, the ego has you, because then you start to go into the program of constantly trying to prepare yourself to be safe. And there's nothing safe about that, because you are spiraling, you are choosing your master is fear. And then you're stuck in fear loops. Every single day. Every single action you do is based in fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. So we see a world outside and we think, because we have 5 senses and we sense it, that's evidence that it is real. But how much can we perceive of the electromagnetic spectrum? A very tiny fraction. We cannot even see what's really out there. We're living in our own head. This is just a bubble of our reality. And then we create a whole collective. There's no collective, there's no society, there's just you experiencing forms now. And then you create logic, language, teachings, consequences, and then we are all in this mass delusion of there being something out there. But if you figure out on your own, if you observe on your own what the truth is, it is in direct experience. There's a table here, I can touch a table, I can sense the shape of a table, I can sense hunger in my stomach, and then when I eat something, I can sense it being alleviated. We are consumers and eaters in this realm. We stop consuming when we are ascended. We aren't ready to stop consuming if we're still here. Eventually your body will dissolve. You will not occupy this space anymore, and then who knows where you will go. Where do you go when you are asleep? There's just a time skip. You didn't see anything. Nothing exists. It was just a giant pause. You die every night when you go to sleep. And why aren't you afraid to sleep every night? It's the same. But we create all these stories and these thoughts because we believe in stories and consequences. There are just picture frames, one after another. That's how malleable this infinite reality is. And it's so addictive and so strong, the illusion, that we play in it every single day. We adhere to the rules. We do A, B, C to get an outcome, and it works. But you are not the one making it work. Your consciousness is the one that makes things work, and you just believe there's a progression in which you create things. No, it's already there. Don't have to do anything to make creation happen. Did you control how you were born? How you just existed? Did you control how your bones grew for years and years? How your brain develops? No. No one controls anything. Do you control how the sun comes up? No. There's no control here. There's only awakening. And you knowing that something controls everything into the minute details. Every particle, every single structure is governed by formless, nameless, what is it? And you are not separated from that because you are inside of that source as a body. So your body is inside of that. We're not solving the human condition. We are looking through it and seeing that it doesn't exist. And that's the complete mindfuck. It never existed in the first place. Ego never existed in the first place. So if you're feeding your own selfishness, the egoic consciousness, that means you are feeding something that doesn't exist. You can also feed something that does exist, and that is your true self. If you put your awareness on your true self, then you're worshipping life. If you focus on something that doesn't exist, you're in what I call the death cult. We have polarity in this realm. There's death and there's life. Around the world you have death cults that serve something that doesn't exist. Egoic consciousness, greed, all kinds of things that are the worst things in humanity. Then we have the other polarity, which is pure consciousness itself. It's just life. Life. The opposite of live is evil. So everything is distorted and inverted in the death cults. The life cult, life is just life. It's neutral. It's being and knowing in existence, and knowing that existence is perfect, complete, and whole. And everything that happens for your benefit and everyone involved. Even though if you don't see the bigger picture, you don't understand, that is what it is. Everything serves life itself, even the distortion, the inversion. Knowing that actually puts you in a positive polarity. If you are in the death cult, you are stuck. You are in the prison of the human condition. You are trying to solve your lack of control, your lack of power, your powerlessness by controlling as many things in the external. And when you're trying to control the external, you have to use fear and hypnosis in others, so they subscribe to the ego themselves, so they will join your death cult and you can be slightly above them in your superiority. But you're both not free, because you're worshipping nothing. That is what Satan worshippers do. They worship nothing. It doesn't exist. So what a demon is, it's inversion of consciousness. It's not real. It is literally not real. It doesn't exist. The shapes, the forms, who gives power to demonic entities? Consciousness. Is it real? No. Only consciousness is real. Only the truth is real. It stands on its own. The worship of illusions, that's why you max out the illusions. When you choose the negative polarity, when you choose to go full ego, there's completely shutting off of the inner self. No going within. Everything has to be external. And you have to maintain that. You have to apply a tremendous amount of power to be in the dark, death called polarity. And many souls are in that polarity, and you see them, they're always busy, they're always corrupt, they don't have love in their hearts, they have hate, resentment, and they need to fuel that and keep that going with force, because it's way more difficult to worship something that doesn't exist than to be existence itself, to be the truth itself. It's just innate. Nature, love, consciousness is so real and so present that it's intangible. It's like a fish perceiving that it swims in water. Where's the water? It's everywhere. Where's the love? It's everywhere. But it's so close that you miss it. That's what consciousness is. That's what life is. The death cult, however, chooses to not perceive, go into the mind, and create rat races for itself. They are never free. And they want to pull as many others into the death cult. Because that's the game, the polarities. And this game is internal. So it's the battle between our inner darkness and our inner light. And you can feed the ego by chasing external things forever, by creating conflict, by creating resentment, by creating suffering, by trying to solve the ego's problems. Or you can accept yourself truly for who you are, value yourself, love yourself. Not because you have stuff or you've achieved stuff, that is irrelevant. Because you know that you are divinity in human body. There's no higher achievement than knowing thyself. Any external achievement bleaks in comparison with you awakening to your true identity. You realizing that you are the source of everything. So you stop messing around in the mirror, the 3D mirror, trying to control the 3D mirror, which also creates suffering because it's untrue. You'll not get the fulfillment that you are seeking, or the freedom from the suffering that you seek as a human being. Because you keep messing around in the mirror, but the mirror doesn't smile back unless you smile first. But true awakening is solitary. It's not in a group. And you have these gurus that say that I'm going to change the world, and I need you all to help me, and I am an ascended master, and we'll make the world a better place. And that is ego disguised in a savior complex. So it's disguised as enlightenment. But if you're truly enlightened, you wouldn't need groups, you wouldn't need anyone, because you are everyone. And you wouldn't need to change the world one bit, because you are the world. And it is created exactly how your consciousness was at that moment, at that time. So what you're seeing outside is the past state of consciousness that you had. That's the past that you're seeing. You're seeing a past reflection of what your quality of frequency was. So you're projecting that out. So who are you changing when you go outside and you go to your activism, you go to your political parties, and you go to your spiritual community retreats? Are you changing the world outside of you? Okay, so you're trying to change the mirror instead of changing your consciousness within, which is the true change, which is knowing, oh wait, everything is perfect. Everything is divinely orchestrated. There's nothing and no one outside of consciousness, which is I am. What do you need to change in the external world then, if you are the cause of the external world? So once you shift your consciousness, you see the external change. And what you first see is the external starts to rebel against you. Because the ego has invested so much time and energy in creating the illusion. It doesn't go down without a fight. How? So you invested that in yourself. It wants to perpetuate itself. So of course it's going to rebel against you. And in that moment, we stay in our consciousness, firm, knowing, oh I know, look, these are the last echoes, ego echoes, of the ego losing its life force. It will test you, it will get any weakness it still has on you, and it often does, to get you back to identification with the external, to get you to try to fix things in the external mirror, instead of going to the true power, which is you, your consciousness. And once you stay rooted in the center, in the eye of the storm, which is consciousness, the external will reflect that. But you, and here's the most interesting part, the external will reflect whatever new state of consciousness you possess. However, consciousness does not care about the external. Consciousness is safe in the knowing that it is everything. So who cares what happens in the external? Who cares? You've already found yourself. You've already figured out that this mirror holographic reality is responding to you. The external can do whatever it needs to do. I know where the power lies anyway. And this realization doesn't have to go with any age, any nationality. Random people have this realization daily. I'm just one that happens to make some videos about it. The ones who are still in a kind of battle with illusion have these traps that I know this, these traps are very cunning. The ego is so extremely smart because it's an inversion of all that is. Of course it's smart. Of course it knows all your weaknesses. Of course it's going to try to get you to stay addicted to the illusion. So it's going to lure you in with temptation. Temptation of, oh, but if you would have a little bit more external validation, then you'll feel better about yourself. Hold on, I already feel good because I am everything. What are you talking about? The ego is quiet again. Okay? The ego, and then you're unaware, you go through your daily life, and oh, wouldn't you like it when, if you had a bigger house, more money, so you'll feel better about yourself, you'll feel more confident, and you'll have more friends. Hold on. I thought that was all it is, everything. And I'm projecting everything outside, so there's nothing separate from me, so there's no lack. The ego just quiets down again, and it keeps trying to poke you in some ways. Or if you have an addiction to, for example, alcohol or something, the ego whispers, come on, you deserve a drink. It's so nice, you'll feel better, you'll feel relief. Now, hold on. I thought that was all it is, and I don't need to have this substance that is toxic, this spirits, to feel relief in myself. The ego cries out again. But when a desire is too strong, then the desire will get filled anyway, and that's okay, because we're all in a human condition. So when you have a desire, strong desire, just fill it, just do the desire, who cares, we're all it is anyway. And then realize, oh wow, this doesn't fulfill me, or oh wow, this actually makes me sick and miserable. And then you learn that way, right? Or you abstain from it, and then you keep saying to that ego, wait, but we're already whole and complete, and we already are self-love abundant. So why should I do those things? The ego is, you're essentially letting the ego know there's nothing to solve at this moment. And what you now start to do on a day-to-day basis is that you start to live from the heart, and a lot of to-do lists will be gone, and a lot of your goals are gone, and your life will be very simple and peaceful. You will have peace and joy. You don't need those things, or those people, or those symbols. But this realization is really not popular with other egos. Because when your whole objective is to be self-love abundant and be the source, live as the source, and other people are not in there, and they're still in the solving mode. Oh, I need this thing because I feel incomplete. Then you're gonna clash with them, and then they're gonna find you strange, and you're gonna find them strange. Because they're still in that rat race stuck, and you're not. What you can do is you can share your consciousness with them, because you are them. They're just the best version of you. So who cares? Again, there's too much resistance to the world and its people. You don't have to have resistance against the people or the world. What you focus on is being strong in your level of awareness, staying there, and sharing that with others, because no one can harm you. No one can do anything to you or for you, because you always get your needs met, because you're the source. So then you create the illusion that someone brings you food, or you create the illusion that you go to work and then you get money and then you buy food. You create the illusion of a supermarket or a farmer shop. All the creation of your consciousness, and including the people. So why are you fighting your own illusion, your own mirror? No fighting, no more fighting with others, no more fighting with yourself, no more fighting with the ego, because the ego is nothing. And when you fight with the ego, you give it more energy. I've made that mistake many times, by the way, fighting with your own ego. The ego always fights because it feels taken from, it feels incomplete, it feels separate. What if you get another degree? Then maybe people will take you seriously. Another one, tricky one of the ego. What if I add more to myself, more knowledge? The value, you know, value can be very subjective because one player values information that gets them out of the ego, and the other sees value in information that builds up the ego to achieve some external end goal, which is both fine. You can also hybridize. Well, you can do your goals, get your manifestations, and then transcend it. You can fulfill your desires to know, okay, I'm already fulfilled, and then you get to a point and, okay, I've experienced everything, I've done everything, and a lot of humans are actually like this, so these are the old wise human beings that we should be listening to, okay? They live their life and they sit by themselves, and they say, you know what? I've lived a great life, I've done everything I wanted to do, I'm ready to go. And these people, in my view, have graduated because they have checked off their checklist and they're fine. They don't care about the illusion of death as well. They just said, okay, you know, I gained from this game whatever I wanted to, and now I'm gonna go. That was fun. They're detached from the illusion. The reason why you overthink as well is because this core program is always the culprit. It's always running in the background. The program of incompleteness. Dis-ease is also the manifestation of the program of incompleteness. So what do you look like and feel like, live like, when you live from the heart, when you are whole and complete? You do whatever your heart calls you to do, whatever lights you up. And whenever you feel fear because the ego wants to survive, fear of consequences of that, you don't care about that, because do you know what fear is now? Why would you fear your own hologram? The world takes care of you because you take care of you. You're not separate from any circumstance. You will always be okay. You will always be okay. And the only time where you're not gonna be okay is when you let the ego lead you. That's when you need the safety measurements. That's when you need the protection. You see, but the transition phase is very tricky, because if you're half ego, half of the time, and half consciousness, then it feels like it feels contradictory. So sometimes you're in ego, sometimes you're in pure consciousness, and that's normal. And if you've had a glimpse of this state of fullness, the state of being, you want to get back there. You want to get back to the fullness. And how do you stay there? By repetition. I would say repetition. In this stage, I would say just repeat the inner knowing. And it's not a thought, it's not a mental gymnastics thing. It is a state change. Be in a state as much as possible where you know you project everything out, and then look what happens in the hologram. Because a lot of random stuff happens. Or a lot of stuff that you said is gonna happen, happens. You will get to your destination anyway, because you can decide what happens with your free will. So there's this hybridization of the human self and the higher self. You can see life as a mixture of predestination and free will. But there is actually no free will, because whatever you choose is also predestined on a higher level, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you choose and then things happen. But everything is predestined anyway, so in the manner in which you go through it, that's what's happening. You will get to your meetups anyway. To get out of this experience what you want. So in a game you have objectives, and you can choose to go straight to the main mission, or you can do a bunch of side missions. And the challenging part here is that you need to take care of the body a lot, because when the body is in the egoic consciousness, the body deteriorates and declines. The body will not function as it's supposed to, because there's a constant static, there's a constant dissonance, disharmony in the body, so the body will get sickness and everything, and then you have to deal with that. So this realization that you are all it is and everything is good, you're okay, there's nothing wrong, you're on your path even though you don't know what's going on. This trust in life, because you are everything, is what heals you instantly from many ailments. And if you trust that process, then you'll not be so anxious or stressed out that much. Unless when the ego is trying to get you back, come back here. And you fall for it again. Which is also okay, but just if you get yourself out more frequently, if you practice more and more, then that becomes your new baseline. You create this video, you create me. I'm just an imagination in your brain. I'm just a character in your imagination right now, and you're in mine. Once you know who you are the source of everything that happens. You also do not care about controlling the external thing, because at the core of wanting to control the hologram is fear. Control is disempowerment. Surrender is actually power, so it's all inverted here. Because who cares what happens in the hologram when you're the source of it? You are already the source, so okay, now what? This happens, okay, but I'm infinite anyway. What do you mean? You should worry about this? Why? I'm infinite anyway. Oh, but you have these things and these undesirable circumstances. I'm infinite anyway. It's probably for my highest good, because why would I create it otherwise? And it is for your highest good. How could it not be for your highest good when you've been given a life by yourself? You're alive out of nowhere. You've been born. You are born out of nowhere, been given this life. You function, you experience things. You're already blessed. What else do you need? Oh, you need to please your ego. Oh, then it feels like moving the goalposts again and again. Your ego is like a dictator that says, okay, if you keep this goal, then I'll give you peace. Then you'll be happy. You work 10 years to get that goal, and you finally are there, and then, oh, but we need this as well. We need this thing, and then the goalpost moves, and then you don't feel fulfilled, and then you think, okay, another 10 years. Working for something that isn't real. New goal. Then you achieve that and you're exhausted. Your body is deteriorating, you're collapsing almost out of stress, you have burnout. Then the ego says, good job, I'll give you this little reward, this little serotonin boost, dopamine, boom. Good job. However, have you seen that you are starting to age and we need to optimize this, maybe do some biohacking. Maybe go to have some surgery or something. You're not good enough, Moving the goalposts. And then we'll have peace. And you see that goalpost moves infinitely. Carry on a stick. And pain is always there. You can't avoid the pain. And you can't get to that fulfillment. If you let go of the stick and the carrot, the pain, the aversion and attachment, then you're free. Because there's no goalpost, because you're already achievement itself. You're already freedom itself. You're already source itself. So what do you mean? What do you mean? Why do you need to achieve more? Come on. You are already quite successful. You've been born, you've done things. So if you start to compare yourself, and that comparing is actually opting into the ego game and competing with other egos, and no one is winning. No one ever wins. So there's this huge egoic hysteria going where people are out competing each other, and no one is ever winning because everyone feels empty all the time. And then you have these natives in nature just living together in communities, just chilling, being whole and complete, having loving connections with each other. No one competes with each other, they all work together and enjoy, worship nature, and are in their loving communities, which also can be romanticized, but if you start to compete, you are stuck in that rat race, and that's why everyone externally is complaining about rat race and not knowing that you yourself created it with your consciousness. Because what rat race are you on in your own mind, in your own psyche? If you solve the rat race in yourself, which is your egoic consciousness, there is not going to be an external rat race. You don't need to have any validation of anyone. Not your family, not your partner, not your followers, because you are a self-validating source in itself. And then you just get quiet and silent. And your needs are always met when you are being in that completeness, in that complete energy. And then you show up in the world whole. Instead of grasping. Need another coach, need another technique, need another pill, need another therapy, need more, because I'm broken. Because you're broke, but... Yeah, that's how $1 billion, $1 trillion industries are created. Because of ego. So I don't know, because I'm still in this myself. I don't know exactly how a civilization would look like if we had complete consciousness, but I have a feeling, a sense, that it would look like an utopia. It would look really, really magical. You know those AI dreamscapes you can find online on YouTube? It will probably look like that. Because everyone is just happy and flowing. And when you perceive things that are wrong in society, political, external, it means that you, as your egoic consciousness, have shined light on that. And you think, oh wow, this is a reflection again of incompleteness. And then you create whole society, civilizations in your holographic illusion on the screen, because you're not directly interacting with any collective. It's in your head. You're just sitting on a chair at the moment. You're going home, you're going into your box, and then you go out of your box, and then into your box, into your vehicle, into another box, other house, other place. Giving yourself silence, spending time with yourself, is the biggest gift you can give yourself. Because in that silence you realize that you can make up the world in whatever way you wish. And those things that have been do not have to touch you anymore. It doesn't have to be the same anymore. Because you know, okay, that's a potential in the field that happened and that happens to people, but I have the agency because I'm connected to that source to choose a different selection. And I know all the resources, all the energy, and all the things that I need will come in order to make my consciousness, my image come true. What do you think a civilization would look like if there's no ego? I've already seen it, but it's not in this layer of reality. I had an out-of-body experience, and I want to go back there, where I perceived a world just like this one, but slightly more harmonious, still practical, everyone happy, everyone truly at peace, collaborating, still houses, celebrating something together. And this celebration is happening in the world. It's like a premonition. That's the goal. That's the goal, to be in that consciousness. And when I returned here, I felt an instant happiness. Doof, negativity, doof. And I was suddenly there, and it felt like a dread feeling. You know that dread feeling when you wake up? That is the old egoic consciousness. Well, it's not consciousness, it's the lack of consciousness. And when you shine a light on that, you think, wow, okay. That emptiness is the inversion. And I am the truth. And the way is, know thyself. There's nothing else you actually can do. What can you do in the mirror? You can only go within and know. Embody. So nothing outside is relevant. Even if you experience it direct in your face, it's not relevant. Even if a demon materializes in front of your face, right here, right now, it's not relevant. It's not real. And knowing that, dissolves all the power in the external, and you'll just breathe and exist and live. So no more posturing with external things. If you know that it's not important, why would you posture with things anymore? Why would you care? Easier said than done. I'm gonna tell you, easier said than done. It could take years of practice to not get drawn in by those egoic things, that those deepest parts of ourselves where we still feel inadequate. Those are gonna drag you down again, and you're gonna compensate with certain behaviors to get your egoic need met. Normal is normal, but just know that is what's happening, and knowing that that is happening is awareness, which will break the chain. That breaks the chain. Awareness of it is just what it is. So if you have subtlety, for example, if you post something and you do it a little bit out of wanting external validation, instead of providing value for people, it's often a disguise when you say, I want to provide value for people, but secretly your ego wants, oh, but I want to be loved, validated, and respected, which is normal. It's human, because we're humans, okay? But just notice it. That's it. You don't have to do anything. You just notice it and say, oh, okay, I got attached to needing external validation. And then, okay, that means I don't feel whole and complete in this moment. And then once you realize that, instantly you will feel whole and complete, because this realization gives peace. It gives peace in that moment, and then you're like, oh, okay. It's okay. There can be nothing taken from me. There can also be nothing added onto me. I can never lose my value or consciousness, because I am not the human physical body. I'm not only the human physical body. Everything is me. So what can you lose if it's a closed system? If this is your projection, what can you gain or lose? You have everything. What? You have everything. And the human does his thing. The human avoids fires and fighting with bears. Normal. But still, if something would happen, you can't lose anything. That's why death is also not that big of a deal. If you lose people in experience, they will just temporarily be inside your heart instead of projected in external. So that's why they say intuitively, humans are intuitive, so they say, I'm always there in your heart. People can never leave. They can't. Even if you try to get rid of people, they will always be there, because they're all it is. So you can't be selective with people. I don't want you in my reality, I don't want you. They're already in your reality, and everyone is in your reality. You can't get rid of that. They will just be reabsorbed in your reality bubble. Where do the characters in your dream go when you wake up from your sleep, from your slumber? Where do they go? Do they disappear? No, they go inside of you, inside of the field of your imagination, and you can recreate them at will in your next dream. In this reality, where do all the people go when you sit alone in a dark room? Everyone's gone, they don't exist. Where are they then? They're not out there, there's no out there. There's just your perception of them when they enter. So they're inside of you. They're inside of you. You can never lose them. So what happens in the game, just observe with childlike innocence what happens. You will respond from your human self or your higher self, and things will happen. And that's it. And then your human game is completed, but the thing is, you woke up, you saw through the illusion, you know, oh, it's just a game, and I am consciousness observing the human game through this character. And that's amazing. That's spectacular. And now we're just gonna play the game and do whatever we want to do. You see how knowing this also takes away any resentment or fear towards other people? Because whenever two people in the spiritual community, you also hear this, two people that harm each other or someone unalives another one, they probably had a soul contract. So it is decided before incarnation that they will execute this play. And then they can go back, and then they say, okay, let's switch roles. This time I will be unaliving you, or something happens. So everything is pre-planned. Everything is pre-planned. And that's you can see that as a soul agreements. But from the highest perspective, even those soul agreements are not real, because who are you agreeing to? You are just agreeing with yourself. You are deciding. So there is no separate soul, there's just oneness. You see, there are layers and layers of reality. And I want to start from the highest, the peak of the mountain, and drizzle down to reach everyone. But the highest peak of the mountain is simple, it's you're it. You're all it is, oneness. You project your hologram. That's the peak. Now we can go into nuance, because you need help with getting out of those little subtle ego traps that keep you trapped. If you have any disordered thinking, feeling, you know the only reason that is because you're identified with the illusion again. You don't know that you are the whole hologram, and you create those people on the screen. You create people telling you, oh, you're not good enough, you're not... Who cares? You created those characters. You can also create 1,000 people that say you are good enough. Who cares? Or you can create 10 people who call you a pink dinosaur. Oh, 10 people call me a big pink dinosaur. Yeah, you created it. Who cares? Who cares? You don't care because everyone is allowed to exist because you're all that is, which is all the potentials. So everything exists. It's so rich. Everyone is rich beyond their imagination, because imagination, you can imagine anything, everything. So you are rich. You are richness itself. You just happen to be in this character for a game. Isn't that so simple? Knowing thyself is the best thing. Because it frees your soul from the highest perspective, and then you can actually live and continue without being trapped all the time. And then you can actually be free of hate, be free of resentment, be free of worry, be free of fear, be free of suffering. Because in order to be free of fear, worry, hate, anger, and resentment, you need to know that you are this whole universe. That's why it's called universe. One verse, one song, you. Then you can also talk about the multiverse, but there's still a universe. You are a whole universe. You're in your own world, your reality bubble. You can say, oh, everyone, some people are in a bubble. No, everyone is in a bubble. Everyone is in their own world. And I don't even, now I'm talking, I catch myself again. There's no everyone. So there's only me seeing in my bubble. So I don't even know for sure, I have no proof that you are living in a bubble. But I assume, just for fun, because I'd like my players to be conscious as well, I like that potential, so I choose that potential. So I would like you to have your own reality bubble, so we can interact, and then we have a multiverse. That's fun for me. And for you, because I created it, that you find it fun, And that is called solipsism, and there's nothing wrong with solipsism, because solipsism means that you are everyone, so you won't harm anything. Why would you want to harm anyone? That means you're separate again. No, that's not true solipsism. That's also being spiritually inverted. So sneaky. These Satanists are so sneaky. The Satanists are just a manifestation of the egoic expression weaponizing truth. And they're very cunning. They're the most intellectually smart people in the world. They're intellectuals. They are extremely clever and smart. But they are not consciousness. They skip the heart. They have the gifts. They know about illusions. They know almost everything. You don't. They don't have the heart. Why do you think they need to control you so much? Because you have the heart power. The power, the energy. But when you have the power and energy and you have intellectual, then you are free, sovereign. Nothing can touch you. Because you know yourself. Whatever happens, it's no big deal. Don't make the external bigger than you. You are the biggest. Don't pedestalize your external circumstances. Because you are the source of everything. And you are already complete. So oh, there's no striving, there's nothing to get. Everything is okay. Abide in this consciousness and claim your peace and freedom now. There is not another moment where you can claim it. It has to be now, because there is no time. There's just now. And naturally gratitude comes out. You're free, you get to breathe, you're relaxed, nothing can harm you, nothing can take from you, unless you create it in your mind, but why would you? You're way too chill, too blessed to be stressed. And just flourish from there. Okay? Infinite love to all of you. All of you.
my name is Katie Bambrick. I'm an anxiety therapist, and I help people reduce their anxiety and start to feel more like themselves by regulating.
Thank you guys for being here. First of all, number one, I want to show you something. It's the day after my birthday today. And I just wanted to I didn't yesterday, and it touched my heart so much. So I got the sweater, right? And I was reading it, and I'm like, what is this? It says, spirit. It took me a second, because I'm like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, oh my God, I say that. I say that in every reading.